Hello, welcome back to the Fish Locker out on the shore. We have got massive spring tides today. We've got a bit of northerly, so it is biting cold, but the sun might even make an appearance. What's going on? Yeah, really big spring tides, like I say. We've got 2 more hours of the ebb, so it means the tide's going out for 2 more hours, and we're just going to work our way down along the low tide line, just looking in any little areas like this that we can find. It's just going to be an exploration day today. Possibly a bit of foraging, beachcombing, rock pooling, however you want to call it. We're just going to see what we can find. I've got my bucket and I've got my foraging hook with my ever-present positive attitude. Let's just go and see what we can find. Here on this wireweed, I don't know if you can see these little green blobs. There. They're all over on these. Those are the eggs, the egg pods of a green leafworm. I'll put a picture in here as to what's laid these. But yeah, these little, they're like the size of a marble, and they're just like, well, like a piece of frog spawn. Yeah, there's probably 10 or 12 there and there and there. It is lovely. It is lovely at this time of year because the seaweeds are just coming out fresh. I mean, we've got Ulvalactuca, we've got sea lettuce, we've got pink coral weeds, these fans, wireweed, like I said, harpoon weeds just coming through, bit of Irish moss, some dulse. These are some kelp fronds. For anyone who's not sure, this is how kelp anchors itself to rocks. This rock's obviously broken away, but just like the roots of a tree, or even, if you think about it, like veins and arteries and capillaries. Yep, got some golden kelp. Serrated rack. You can tell serrated rack because the edges of the leaves, you can see, are a bit serrated. Whereas you get something like these with bladders on. There you are. That's bladder rack. You see, there's no serrations, but they have got bladders like this. And these little tiny white worms here, I don't know how well you can see them. These little tiny white coils are called Sporobis, and it's a little tube worm that creates a calcium shell, like in the shape of a cross section of a Swiss roll or a Danish pastry. These guys always make me laugh. I don't know how well you can see them, but they're almost like they're having a little race. These are netted dog whelks, and what they're all on their way somewhere, because I can see they're all going in one direction. They're coming from all over. There's one. Oh, look, there's stacks of them. Oh, look, see. And what these are, bit of a balancing act then. What these are is, these are carnivorous. They're like scavengers, so they'll be able to smell like a dead crab or a dead fish hiding somewhere in the seaweed, and they'll all be going for it. They'll all be making their way towards it. So yeah, netted dog whelks. Was perched up on top of there and I nearly rolled over. It's rare that I'll go out foraging on the shore and I don't get water in my wellies, but I don't fancy falling into a rock pool at the first 5 minutes of being on the beach. This is one of those things where I might say something's interesting, you might not find it interesting at all. This is the 2 different types of like calcium tube worm that we get down here. Like I was saying before, this is the Sporobis. Little tiny spirals. You can't maybe see that as close, so I'll put a picture in. But that is the other one. All these little wiggly worms here, you can see them all the way around the rock. Those are keel worms, and those are Sporobis. So the keel worms go like in a wiggly pattern, and the Sporobis are like a little spiral. some fresh dulse. This is delicious. So's sea lettuce and dulse. That there even looks like that could be netted dog whelk eggs. Those little egg casings there. What I'm looking for in like all the little cracks and crevices is little holes, because it's the little holes where the crabs, the crustaceans, the lobsters, the prawns, everything like that will be hiding. This is what we're looking for, and all I've got is I've just got a little underwater torch, and it's perfect for exploring all like the little caves. Now there might be something in there. I'm not expecting there to be, because there's a bit of seaweed in there, and usually if there was a crab or a lobster in that hole there wouldn't have been any seaweed, because it would have pushed it out by now. Oh, that's quite interesting. That little shell there is a cowrie, a European cowrie. There's two different types. There's an Arctic and a European. That one, you can see the two spots on it. That's a European. Yeah, there's a little tiny crab right at the back of there. But that's what we're looking for, like a little cave. A lovely little cowrie, that. I don't know if you'll be able to see that little shoal of fish in that pool. See them out? They look to me like sprats, like baby herring or baby pilchards. There you go. There's a few types of anemones that you're likely to find. I'm expecting to probably find half a dozen types today. That'll be like a strawberries anemone, a gem anemone, a beadlet, snake locks, daisies. If you're finding them in amongst sand, like as if they're coming straight out of the sand, like this one here, it's likely to be, I don't know if you can see that there, look, watch. Those ones are likely to be daisies. You'll know because when you look down on top of them, it's got like a symmetrical pattern going out in stripes. The other ones that we find, snake locks, are ones with like the really big long tentacles. I really like those. Get them in like purple or green. But I'll point them out as we find them, but I'm expecting to probably find 5 or 6 different types. My favourites are the dahlia, and one reason being is because their Latin name is Urticina felina, and I've always thought that was quite nice. Dahlias and snake locks. But yeah, let's go and see what else we can find. Very pretty painted top shell. This seaweed here is called bunny ears. Bunny ears. You've got to think there's some things in nature that have just got ridiculous names. The people naming these things must have had a right laugh. Like blue-footed boobies. It's one of them daft things, isn't it? Let's go. When you come in rock pooling and you're looking for things to turn over, the best way for me to describe it is you're looking for a flat rock with a bit of a gap underneath. You can see there, look. What have we got here? We've got, go on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are broad-clawed porcelain crabs, and they live flat on the rock. Brittle stars everywhere. You can see them. You have to be really careful with these because, as their name says, they are very brittle. And that is a sea urchin that's upside down. See all of its little legs there. There's another sea urchin. Little olive sea urchin. So there's 3 sea urchins. 1, 2, 3, 20 brittle stars, and a few little furrowed crabs. There, looks it. Xantho incisors. Got about 5 names. Furrowed crab, Montague's crab, pie crust crab. Yeah. Be really careful putting this one back so we don't squash any of these urchins. And whenever you lift a rock, make sure you place it back, because it's the rock that's giving all these creatures underneath the protection. Oh, that's quite a nice interesting thing there. That there is a chiton. C-H-I-T-O-N. So it's chiton or chiton depending on who's saying it. Like an armour plated woodlouse. Here are a few more daisy anemones. If you can see, there's one, there's one, there's one. Watch. Completely gone underneath the sand. The little ones, the gem anemones, they can be absolutely like the smaller than the nail on your little finger. The easiest way to find those is on a night and with a UV camera, because they glow out like a little tiny green diamond. Daytime they're almost invisible. This I might not be able to show you this because it's in a bit deeper water, but I think these are lovely. These are called Harpoon Weed, because every other, see that stalk sticking out? Every other one has got like a straight stalk with no leaves, but it's got some little barbs on like a harpoon. But here, this is the snake-locks anemone that I was talking about. See it down there next to my hand? There, look. That's the type of thing you'd expect Nemo to be living in, wouldn't you? Just like hair. That's a snake-locks. That's like the purpley brown one. You do get some of them, and they're bright green with purple tips. So yeah, that's anemone number 2. Little turnstones. I'm surprised to get so close to them. There's a curlew. I heard one earlier on. I got a really distinctive call. If it sits down and starts calling again, I'll put the camera on. It's a lovely call. It's like a one of them. This guy here is a velvet swimming crab. Now they are incredibly fast. Called a swimming crab because of these back legs here, these swimming legs. And they're velvet because they've got a velvety texture to the top. But yeah, they are incredibly fast and very aggressive. Right. We've got about another half an hour of the ebb. I'm right down. This stuff doesn't usually get uncovered, and it is hard going. It's really really jagged rocks and lots of kelp. So if you're going to find anything, this is where it's going to be. Just small fish, and if I can reach it, gently does it. A spiny starfish. Get these all colours from being yellow, orange, blue, pink. This one's like a grey blue. But yeah, they grow massive, they grow to being like that big. I'm just going to work my way along, looking in all these little crevices. Just sitting down for 2 seconds to have a little bit of a breathe. I tell you what, walking over this type of seaweed, it is hard work. It's just slippery as anything. Yeah, I was just talking to a couple there, they're out in their wetsuits. I really should have done that today because it's been really difficult to stop the water from going in my wellies. I have not seen a single edible crab. I've seen one hole that I think's got a lobster in it, but it was too deep of water. I'm going to go back in a minute when the tide's at the bottom of the ebb. But yeah, just no crabs and, like I say, no real sign of lobsters. So it's strange, very strange. Usually, you don't always find one big enough to keep, but you always find something smaller, and there's just nothing. I mean, look at this. This here is what I would consider to be a perfect lobster hole. That there, look. That there should have something in it. A hole with some water in it. Lobsters, what they're like is they don't like a hole that dries out. So that hole there, it's deep enough to keep one in it, and it's got a bit of water in it. They can survive out of water, but they like a hole with a bit of water in it. So yeah, I've found 4 or 5 holes like that and just nothing. Usually a crab or something, but just nothing. Very strange. But we'll keep on trying. Oh, possibly just too late. In this hole here, right at the back there, I don't know if you can see it, but there are a couple of lobster claws. And unfortunately the tide is now flooding in, so I'm gonna have to try and be really quick. We never know, I can try, but at least I've found one. Right, as far as lobster extractions go, that was incredibly easy. I just tickled right at the back of the cave and it came straight out. Now that, as soon as it come out, I thought, I know what's going on here. And you can tell it is soft. It is. Calm down, calm down. It's a soft lobster, look, watch. This guy couldn't crunch me if he tried, look. His claws are soft. That's why he's come straight out of his hole. But yeah, this is a male. You can tell by those 2 white dots there. Not only by the size of his claws, but by these 2 dots. This one would be, if this one was hard, this one would be a perfect size to take home. It is, I would put that at being about 100 mil. In fact, I'll get my tape measure out and I'll measure it for you. But yeah. Oh, so close and yet so far. When they're soft, they're no good to eat. They're just full of water. Now, in their life cycle, what they do is, crustaceans, decapods, is they've got a hard exoskeleton. So in order to grow, they have to shed their old shell, and then they absorb a load of water and swell, and then their shell hardens up again. So this guy at the moment here, he has just shed his shell. So that's why he's soft. You can see everything about him is soft. That's the reason why he came straight out of that hole. There's no fight in him because he can't fight to defend himself, so he just gave up. That means, unfortunately, they're no good to eat. So I am going to put him back, but I'll get a measure on him and I got a photo of him and we'll put him back. Right. The minimum landing size in my area is 90mm from the back of the eye to the back of the carapace, so this hard part. Like I say, I think this one's going to be about 100. So what you need to do is you measure from the back of the eye to the back of the carapace. That is 102mm. So yeah, like I said, about 100. A lovely looking lobster. Really, really stunning bright blue. I do love that colour blue. There, look. Just brought him over here to try and get a photo of him. See, they walk forward and then when you get hold of them, see its tail going? They'll flap backwards like that. Just stunning, aren't they? Quite easily belong in an aquarium like that, couldn't I? I'll get a quick photo of him, I put him down and he's off, he's gone. You can really see the difference between the claws here, can't you? They have two different types of claws, just like left-handed and right-handed people. They have a really strong crunching claw. This big one here on the left. Calm down, calm down. They have a really big strong crunching claw which they get hold of things and crunch it, kill it. And then they have a little serrated one, like a pair of scissors, that they chop it up with. So they have a cruncher and a cutter. Usually when they're hiding in a crevice, when they're hiding under a rock, it's only one of these big antennas that you see sticking out. This behaviour, you can see he's just evasive, he's trying to get away. That's because he's soft. If he'd have been hard, he would have stood and fought. He would have had more aggression in him. But because, like I say, he's soft, he can't defend himself. So let's get him back in that hole. You have to be careful when picking them up when they're soft, just because they really cannot support the weight of their own body. Just let him slip back into that hole there. There he goes. Come and have another go when you're hard enough. Oh. I'm really excited to see one, especially considering there's just been absolutely nothing up to this point. Disappointing that I can't take it home, but still lovely, lovely to see. Yeah. There we go. Right, tide is coming in now. You can see it. It's going to end up pushing me off this rock pool now. I'm going to work my way back and we'll see about turning some stones over and see what we can find further up the beach. Let's turn a couple of these rocks over and see what we can find. Oh, hello. That's the first edible crab I've seen today. Feels like a female. Right. Oh, there's a little fish there as well. What's that? There's a little fish here somewhere. What are you? Are you a butterfish or are you a rockling? Oh, a couple of rocklings. A small velvet swimming crab. That is a Risso's crab. We've got a shore rockling. Edible crab. And lots of keel worms. Right, let's just move you out of the way for a second while I put this rock down so don't squash you. Put the rock down and put everything back underneath it. There's a gem anemone. I knew I'd find one eventually. A little gem. Tell you what, keep you wet until tide comes in. Oh, stacks of Risso's crabs underneath here. That one there is a pregnant female. That's all the eggs underneath. Quite a lot of these are females. That'd be one big male with like a harem of them almost. I don't know if you'd consider him a lucky guy or a lot of headaches. I think anybody who's had a pregnant wife, I think anybody that's had a pregnant wife or a pregnant girlfriend knows that it can be it can be a challenging time. A wonderful time, but also challenging. Oh, that's stacks of them. There, look, that'll show you the difference. That is a furrowed crab. And that's a Risso's crab. So side by side you can see the difference. That one's got a flatter shell, flatter on the top. That one's got more bumps from the outside. This one just looks like he's skipping leg day. Look at the size of his arms in comparison to his legs. And another little edible crab. Oh, and a little olive squat lobster. We'll go under here. Another squat lobster and some porcelain crabs. Get yourself all tucked in under there. Carefully does it. There you go. Some more Risso's. Right. Oh, that tide's catching me up. Let's go make our way further. You can't see it, but look, it's sneaking up on me. Yeah, tide's sneaking up on me. It's kept moving. It's lovely, it's sun. Then you get out at wind. Just making my way up the beach now, and I found another anemone. This one here, unfortunately, I knocked it and it's closed up. But that there, that's a beadlet anemone. I'll try and put a picture in here, but they're bright red, and then right around where all the tentacles come out, they've got blue dots. So that's gem anemones, sand daisies, snake locks, and beadlets. We just need to find a strawberries anemone now. Tide's pushing in. It's time to go and pick James up from school. I was just thinking about that lobster there. That was a fantastic lobster. It's just a shame it was soft. If I find anything else on the way back to the van, I'll put it in. If I don't, then I won't. I hope you've enjoyed joining me. All the very best. See you later.